My respect to venerables and reverence. Warm greetings from Thailand. I am very honored and very happy to be part of this symposium. Why is it so important for me to attend this particular symposium? Let me give you way back, 1983. That was the first time I was invited to Harvard University to attend a conference on women, religion, and social changes. The host at that time, Professor Diana Ek, she did not know me personally, but she was looking for someone to speak on the title of the paper, Future of Bhikkhuni Ordination in Thailand. Bhikkhuni means fully ordained nuns. At that time, there was only one Bhikkhuni in this whole country. That was my mother, Venerable Waramai Kabil Singh. She was ordained from Taiwan. As I attended the conference, I didn't realize that that conference was going to be a stepping stone for me to be what I am now. The conference was closed conference. They invited only the leading activist feminists from all over the country. And the discussion which was going on in this conference was very open, very moving, to bring out the issues of exploitation of women from different parts of the world. I was shocked and I was moved to realize the suffering of sentient beings to that extent, to the great extent that we were exposed at the conference. It was the first time that I start looking within myself. As an academic, I was living very comfortably in this ivory tower, doing nothing to bring about social changes. I, a woman in religion and social changes, I was the only one in my country to come back with a PhD, particularly with my research on the ordination of women. Yet, I was not doing anything to bring about social changes. So that conference in Harvard, at Harvard University, was my turning point. I decided 1983 to come down from the ivory tower and start being active to bring about proper information on ordination of women. Slowly as things turned, in the year 2001, I took ordination, I became ordained, I became a monastic. Something happened at this ordination. When you put on the robe, you shave your head. As you walk out, the very first day I walked out, people from on the street came and bowed to my feet. I was more than shocked, to realize that you have such great faith from the people all around. So slowly, I was more and more exposed to the suffering of women, particularly on sexual abuse issues. This went on, and it was the year, that year, 2003, I was fully ordained. And very interestingly, Harvard University organized another conference. And that conference, they invited the women they have invited earlier in 1983. All the women came together again, but this time I looked very different from all of them. As I was shaved and I put on the robe, some of them recognized me right away, but some of them could not recognize me because they could not imagine that I, as a professor leading a very comfortable lay life, would actually be committed enough to lead this monastic life. So I see that ordination is something very important. You cannot talk about ordination only and bring about social changes. I have myself to be ordained. I have myself to be committed to what I was talking about, what I studied so much. So this is a move from academic person to be committed in social issues, to be a social activist, to move so that you really bring about social changes in my context, in my country. Now, almost 4 decades. Again, I'm invited to participate in this symposium on the role of faith leaders, to talk about how we can protect, how we can heal child sexual abuse. This is again within that realm of social changes. The key word that I read: faith leaders, sex, child and sex, and sexual abuse. These are the key words that we could start. I would like to pick on the first one, faith leaders. As faith leaders, how are we committed? How are we committed to our profession, so to say? How are we committed to our profession? As I mentioned earlier, when I was ordained, how people suddenly pay you great respect. I went into myself and asked, what is a commitment? When I was ordained, I made a pronouncement to my teacher, to my preceptor, that I will make enlightenment real in my life. Enlightenment is our spiritual goal, is Buddhist spiritual goal. Then I also said, I will try my best to lessen suffering. Only when I lessen suffering within myself, only then I can speak to my people. So this commitment is very important. So here we are talking about faith leaders to protect, to heal those who are abused. How we ourselves as faith leaders, how committed we are to our path. You may think about, we are going to come together and write something like a guidebook, a handbook, so that to help monastics, to help the fathers or the sisters to handle cases of victims. To me, no. To me, when you have victims sitting in front of you, you have to listen to them very carefully. Listening to them very carefully, in Buddhist training, it is called listening, pure listening. This pure listening is listening without I, listening without making judgment, listening by really feeling the suffering the person is telling you. Go into the depth of pain, feel the pain within them, and now that pain becomes pain that you could actually feel. You want to cry? Yes, you can cry. Don't hold back that you are faith leaders, so therefore you should not show your tears. Show your tears. Tears is made for you to cry. So feel truly the pain that the victims are suffering. Only when you really feel the pain of what they are going through, only then we as faith leaders can help them. When you actually feel the pain, they know that you are not faking it. They know that you could feel the pain that they are feeling. At that moment, you gain trust. In order for you to do the healing, to go to the step of healing, healing does not happen unless you have trust, unless you gain trust. So from this stage, from this step onward, what are you to say to them? You don't have to say anything. Allow divinity to flow from you, from within, and reach out to them. It could be physical, just holding hands, physical hug, to reassure them that you will be with them through this passage of suffering and coming out of suffering. That is what faith leaders are for. So therefore, at this gathering, at this symposium, I have great trust in faith leaders that they are committed to what they are. They are committed to the divinity, and they are working from that realm to extend themselves to reach out for those who need help. So I think the change that I went through from Harvard University in 1983, that happened to me as a person. And because I am committed, that's why I bring about ordination of women in my country. In the year 1983, there was only one person ordained, that's my mother. 20 years after that, I was ordained. And I was the first in the movement to bring women into this ordination. It all happened from my experience at Harvard University. So this symposium, I hope that it is going to be yet another point of time that from now on there is going to be a real change. From now on, faith leaders will shift from their comfortable zone to reach out for those who are exploited, those who feel the suffering, and you could feel their suffering. Then we can come together and we can allow divinity to flow from us out to them. Let today be a start for Harvard University again to be the center to make about this change that will happen in society, to bring about the true happiness in humanity. Let me give you a chanting, a Buddhist chanting for healing. Om Namo Bhagavate Pai Sachiya Guru Vaituriya Praparashaya Tathāgataya Aratate Samyak Samputaya Tattayatha. Om Pai Sachiye Mahā Pai Sachiye Raja Samuttakate Bodhi Swaha. And my second chanting is for the happiness of all. I ask the blessing from the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha to provide all of us with happiness. Bhavattu sappha mangalam rakhantu sappha devata sappha buddhanupavena sappha dhammanupavena sappha sanghanupavena satha soti bhavantu te. Sadhu sadhu.